Hello, I wanted to explain to you some things about the AP Digital Exam app now that it's available for you, because I know some people will have downloaded it and been trying some things out, and maybe you're a little bit confused about what you're seeing and also about what it's going to look like on the actual exam day. So first, before we talk a lot about that, I do just want to remind you that you should be also double checking the time for your exams. All of the times that I've listed here are Edmonton local times, because if you go onto the College Board website, you'll see that they keep on listing the times as being 12 noon and 4 p.m. Remember, those are the times in New York, which is where the College Board is based. So they keep on saying Eastern time for that. These are the times for us here in Edmonton. Also though, any of the times that you're seeing here for any of these exams, also remember that you are required to be signing in 30 minutes before the exam, because you have to do the pre-test check-in. And I'll be getting to that in a moment when we get to that part of me telling you about the actual exam app process. But make sure that you are aware of these days and times. You might have actually been talking about a different date previously, because these dates are the dates for the digital exams. Previously, your teacher might have told you a date that related to a pen and paper exam. So that's why those will be different. Now, there's a 4-step process to be able to get through to go from getting the app to the actual day when you're using the app. And I know it sounds a bit intimidating to say there's 4 steps, but they do lead one into the other, and the app actually does try to help you all the way along to make sure that you're following all of these steps, going from downloading, practicing, actually completing this process where you have to get the actual exam onto your computer in advance of the day of the exam, and then finally checking in and actually writing your exam on the exam day. So I'm going to break down each of these steps for you. The first one being downloading the app. I'm hoping that most of you have already done this, but if you haven't, that's okay. It's been available as of April 8th, and you really should download it as soon as possible. So you go to cb.org/AP 2021 exam app. And when you go there, it's going to automatically identify what operating system you're using on your computer. So the screenshot that I've got here is for a person that's using Windows. If you're using a Mac, it'll pop up as, hey, let's download the Mac version for you. Now, you might get a little bit confused if you try going there on your phone. And I know I put a QR code there. It's so that you can get to that page and even just see some of the information. But remember, if you open this up on a phone, an iPad, anything like that, even your own personal Chromebook, you're, instead of seeing this, you're going to see an error message that says not available for your operating system. And I know a couple of people have already contacted me saying, why am I seeing that? Remember, it's because only Windows-based and Mac-based computers can be used, including laptops, can be used to run this app. You can't do it on a smartphone, you can't do it on an iPad, you can't do it on a personal Chromebook. So if you're in a situation where you know for a fact that you will not have access to a computer during your days that you're writing AP exams, I need you to contact me as soon as possible, because I can get you a school-managed Chromebook that we've already pre-locked down for you. But that's a process that we've got to take care of. So I need a lot of ahead time to know that I have to do that for you. So please contact me as soon as possible if that's the case. But assuming that you're on a Windows or a Mac-based computer, you click on the download. It's going to start downloading, and this might take a few minutes depending on the speed of your internet connection. So please be patient. Now, when it's done downloading the app for you, you have to do a few things to actually get it installed. I'm assuming that you know where things are downloaded onto your computer. For a lot of people, like on a Windows computer, it's just going to go to your downloads folder, something like that. But you go to where your browser saves downloads. And if you're on a Windows computer, you're going to see a file called 2021 digitalapexams.execute. You just need to double click on that. If you're on a Mac computer, you're going to have to grab that icon and drag it over to your applications folder. Once you've done that though, double clicking it is going to start it up. It'll do this thing where it's, installing and things like that. There is the possibility that you might see a message that asks you to confirm that you really want to open, install, run this app. Go right ahead and say yes. Now, I am also going to caution you though, not so much for this stage, but for when you're actually going to be using the app, you do probably want to disable temporarily your antivirus software on your computer. The big reason the College Board is asking us to tell students that is because you do have to remember that when the app is running, it actually does, at one stage, basically put your computer in a lockdown mode. And the idea is that potentially your computer's antivirus software could see that as an attack, like it's trying to hijack your computer. It's not trying to do that though. It's just that the app is making sure that you're not accessing things that you're not supposed to during the exam. So just to get around that, especially on the day of your exam, we are suggesting that you do temporarily just disable your antivirus software. It'll probably be the best bet for you at that point. So once you've got this all installed and everything's running and everything seems to be good, you're going to get to the process, or the step in the process where you have to log in and just start practicing for the first few times. The login does require to use your username and password for your College Board account. Remember, everything that these guys are doing is related to your College Board account. So please make sure in advance that you still know both your username and password. There is a little link down here where you can click if you need to retrieve either your username or password. I would also suggest though that you do visit myap.collegeboard.org, because there you can double check everything on your account. Even things like to make sure that you have a email address put in that is not your school-based email. Because remember, for many of you that are going to be finished grade 12 at the end of this semester, you need to be able to still access your email, like in July, August, whatever, to look at stuff from the College Board. Your ECSD account isn't going to be working by that point. So just make sure that there's things like that. Oh, and I should also mention, some people have been saying to me that they're already getting messages from whatever universities they have been accepted to saying, hey, make sure that you're sending us your transcript for AP. Don't worry about that. They're only doing it because you indicated you're an AP student, and so they're reminding you that in your College Board account, they want you to make sure that you've selected their university to get your transcript. And please also remember, no university ever looks at a bad AP mark and holds it against you or says that's the reason that they're gonna then say that your admission is refused. No, they're thrilled that you're doing any AP stuff because it's preparing you better for university. And if you do well enough on the exam, then they have to process the paperwork to give you credits. That's why they're just asking you to make sure that you have their information put in on the College Board website. Anyways, once you have signed in, for the time being, you're just going to see a couple of options like this in the Practice tab. There's one of them that is going to be called the App Demo for whatever exams you're doing, and another one that's called Digital Practice. Now the difference between these is that App Demo is meant to be like a really fast, like 5 to 7 minutes of it just kind of going through the most basic, hey, this is going to be what it looks like sort of examples. And it's more than anything just for you to test that, yeah, the app is running fine, so that you know that if something kind of glitches and locks up or something like that, you might want to uninstall the app and then reinstall it because maybe there was an installation error. Once you've tried that one, just to make sure everything's running fine, eventually, at some point, when you've actually got about 45 minutes to an hour, you should be trying the Digital Practice. Remember, these are all set up for the exams that you are actually going to be writing. So it actually is based on the content that you're going to be writing exams on. It's going to give you examples of the styles of questions. It's going to show you everything about the way that you're putting in answers, the works. And where this one, the app demo, just does like a couple of quick example, hey, this is what multiple choice will look like, and hey, this is what short answer will look like, with this sort of mini break in between them. When you do this one, it's closer to being the experience you'll get on the actual exam day. I think they said that this one's going to have, it's something like 10 or 15 multiple choice, so they can show you lots of different examples of how different styles of questions might be presented to you. And then there's like this 5-minute break in between the two sections to kind of get you used to this idea of, oh yeah, there's going to be a break and it's going to be counting down for me. And then a short answer part kicks in, and from the way I understand it, it sounds like there's going to be one full-blown short answer question for you to try. That it's like the size of a question that they would actually ask you. And then there will be feedback from that one where it says to you, not necessarily, like it's not a real human is marking your stuff, but it will have like an answer key apparently that you can access afterwards. So check the app demo just to make sure that everything seems to be working and you've got sort of a quick idea of what's going on. But then definitely try the digital practice, especially for the very specific different styles of exams that you might be doing. Because like an AP Calculus exam looks different than an AP English exam. So you do want to try that for both if you're writing a couple of different exams. Step 3 is probably the step that makes the least sense to most students. I get that, because it says you have to complete this exam setup for each exam. Now what you need to understand here is that the College Board is genuinely concerned that if on exam day at the same time, because it's the same time around the world, so trust me, we should be very happy that, for example, literally you don't live in a place like China where they have to start their AP exams in the middle of the night. So for us though, starting at 10 a.m. in New York, it's 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. I should say, all these places, they're all starting at exactly the same time. If everybody was downloading the exam onto their tests at exactly the same time, it would completely overwhelm their servers. It just couldn't handle it. There are literally hundreds of thousands of people writing these exams. So what they're doing is they're getting you to go in a few days in advance so it staggers out on their servers people actually grabbing the exams onto their computers. It's a secured file, so it's not just like a PDF file that you can open up or something like that. But here's the way it works. About 5 days before your date for your exam, sorry, no earlier than that, in your My Exams, you're going to start seeing your exams appear. The College Board said that they're doing that where there's like this, only about 5 days in advance, because they know that for some students in some schools, there's the possibility that they might have to change from paper to pencil to digital in the second administration, digital in the third administration, kind of at the last moment if they suddenly go into isolation or out of isolation or something like that. So they said it's about 5 days beforehand, you'll see your exams start to appear. And then 1 to 3 days before your actual exam. So my example here is that if you're writing an exam on Tuesday, you would be able to do the exam setup on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. Notice I didn't say on Tuesday. You don't wait until the day of an exam to do this setup part. So 1 to 3 days before the exam, you'll go in and you'll click on the exam setup. Now the purpose of this, like I said, is so that it actually starts to actively download your exam for you. And so what you're going to see appear after you do the exam setup thing, and it confirms a couple of things with you, is this message that says, we are downloading the exam onto your device. I don't want anybody to freak out and say, oh wow, it thinks that I'm about to start. No, all that it's doing, remember again, is it's getting a secured locked file that it's downloading from the College Board that is actually your entire exam. Again, depending on the speed of your internet connection, this might take a while because it is actually quite a sizable document. It's going to be a couple of meg at least sort of thing. So once it's done downloading, you should see another message appear that says, hey, the exam was loaded onto your device. This is great, everything's wonderful. And then another message that appears that says, yep, you're good to go for that exam. But please remember that this is a message saying you've now got that one exam that you've just prepped for onto your computer. You do have to do this set of steps for each individual exam that you're writing. So if you're writing 3 exams, you're going to go through this step 3 times, once for each one of your exams. So please don't think that once you've seen this once, it's downloaded all of your multiple exams. Each time that you saw this screen, it's going to be talking about one specific exam and setting up for that specific exam only. It does also have the reminder for you that you are going to be signing into the app like 30 minutes before the start of your actual exam still. So for that part, the exam check-in. It's the day of your exam. It's like 30 minutes before it starts. You open up the AP exam app and you're going to see it looks like this. It's now changed to, hey, the exam starts soon and check in now. You click the check-in button, and remember, you're supposed to be clicking that like 30 minutes before the exam start time. Why so early? Because it's going to ask you a few questions. It's going to ask you to confirm some personal information. It's partly doing that to make sure that you are you. It asks you to review some privacy policies. This is actually a really big deal to the College Board because they want you to understand that without your name attached to it or anything like that, you might be doing some answers on the exam that they want to show as examples to like the people that are marking the exams, that sort of an idea. And they want you to know that although it won't be named by person, hey, this was you that wrote this stuff, there might be multiple people at the College Board reading through an exam answer that you gave. It might be, when we mark exams like this, we call them exemplars. They're examples of a particular sort of grade that we think a person deserves for a certain type of answer. They're not trying to spook you out or anything like that. They're just letting you know that their privacy policies allow for things like that. You're going to have to type in a digital test security statement. Now, the reason they're asking you to do this is because they're going to show you it like this, where they say, here's the statement. And I know it sounds weird because people are like, what do I type over here? Do I just type yes? No, you're actually yourself copying this. And I don't mean copy and paste. I mean, you're reading through this while typing the exact same thing over in this box. Because digitally speaking, when you type something in yourself, it is a legal contract for you then at that point that says you understand what you just agreed to. So they are requiring us to do that. Hey, on the real AP exams, they're usually done like paper and pencil. I'm not saying these aren't real, but on the paper and pencil ones, in those ones, there actually are situations where they actually get you to hand write out some statements sometimes. So, there's stuff like that. It asks you to review the test day checklist. Now that's going to have some things like, hey, you understand that, this is your test and you're writing it for you and you're not going to try to access resources that aren't allowed. You're following all their rules basically and stuff like that. Then it's going to confirm that you're now ready to put your computer into a lockdown mode. And this is kind of the big commitment moment because that's the point where you're saying to the app, I'm turning control over to you of the computer because it locks out all the other programs and everything like that and says, you're about to start writing a test. And then you wait for the test to begin. Now this part might be, again, a little spooky for you because you're basically just going to be kind of sitting there waiting. And there's not going to be like another start button after that or anything. You're just going to be waiting because once you've given it the control and said, yep, I'm good, it's waiting until that exact moment, 10 a.m. for a morning exam, 2 p.m. for the afternoon exams, that everybody starts writing all at the same time. And that's when it'll open up for you and say, the exam has begun. And you start actually actively doing the test. Now, once that exam actually starts, there'll be a banner like this that's at the top of your exam the entire time. It identifies the exam that you're writing. There is a thing you can click on where it says, hey, these are the directions for your exam. I think they're going to be pretty standard and self-explanatory. So you can click on and go, oh yeah, they're telling me to answer a bunch of questions fast. The timer itself is going to be going, and you do not have control to say, oh, I've got to go to the bathroom, I'm going to pause the test. It's just like a real AP exam that you would be writing in person, or a diploma exam or anything like that. If you choose to go to the bathroom, that's time that you aren't writing the test. Sorry. So this just keeps on going the whole time. You can hide the timer, because they know for some people seeing a timer going all the time can lead to some test anxiety. I would say only hide the timer if you really feel that you can kind of self-regulate the pace that you're going at. I would recommend you leave it there the whole time. There's a button here that says annotate. It's so that if while you're doing a question, and in a moment I'll show you what some of the questions look like, you're like reading through some text that they've given you that's background information. This actually lets you do things like highlight some of the text and stuff like that, so that you can read back to it and say, oh yeah, that was the stuff I wanted to focus on. Reference is if you're writing an exam that essentially has data involved. So for example, like in chemistry, it'll give you some of the constants that are involved, things like that. So you can click on that and you can say, hey, these are the College Board constants that they want me to write, or to use. And remember that if you're doing an exam that does allow something like a data sheet, you are totally allowed to have that printed off right in front of you, because that's an acceptable resource for your test. Okay? The help button is pretty much what it sounds like. It's, hey, something's going screwy here. I'm hoping you won't have to use that very much, but it does basically indicate some ideas of this is what we can try to do to help if you're having a technical issue, really, with the way the AP exam is running. It's not help with the question itself. You can't like click on that and say, hey, I don't understand number 3. It's not that kind of help. The more button is one that I'm going to come back to in a second. I'll do the reveal on that. But I did also want to point out that as the timer is going, when you hit 5 minutes remaining in whatever section of the exam you're doing at that point, it will reappear even if previously you hit it. It's in red and you can't hide it again. It's basically the warning of, you got 5 minutes to finish up whatever you're doing. And this is not like a test in a classroom where you can just say to the teacher, oh, just another couple of seconds, I'm just putting in the last stuff. When that hits 0, the test closes off that section for you. You're done, whatever you're done up until that point. So if it's starting to count down and maybe you've got a few more multiple choice questions left, you might want to just kind of start clicking through them and make some educated guesses on the last few, just to make sure that you're getting in under the wire there. Now, in that more button, there's a few different selections. Zoom in and zoom out. Those are the ones that I think you might legitimately need to use, because maybe you're looking at something in a multiple choice question and maybe there's a diagram and you want to zoom in on it a little bit better to see something, stuff like that. The one that I want you to be really careful about is, please do not hit this exit button unless you really mean it, because it shows like a little person running out of a doorway. When you hit the exit button, it's not, oh, I think I'm done this section. No, the app takes care of all of that for you. Exit means, I'm getting out of here. I know I'm not finished, but I'm walking away. And that is kind of like this ultimate, you're stopping the exam moment. That's really only if something is happening that is like a legitimate emergency where you are at that moment. Otherwise, there is not really a good reason to hit the exit button here. So please do not be hitting that exit button at any point during the exam, because it really is a moment where you're saying, I'm out of here, okay? And honestly, you're supposed to just let the app run all of the stuff for you, for it will take care of when you're finished stuff, okay? Now, these two buttons I think are going to be more useful for you because on a lot of the questions, there'll be like information over here and then the question over here. Now, maybe you're reading a bunch of text and having it squished on this half over here just makes it a little bit harder to read. You click that and it'll expand it out so that it's covering the screen for you. And then when you're ready to see the multiple choice, you can jump it back. Or maybe you just want to focus on the multiple choice question. So you click it for the multiple choice part or whatever part you're doing, and it expands that part. So it lets you expand the kind of half page divisions that they've got for you if you need to do that while writing the exam. So the multiple choice. The number one thing that I want everybody to know is that when you're writing the multiple choice, when you're done this question, or maybe you're not even done it, but once you click this next button to say, I want to go to the next one, you cannot come back to this question. So you really do have to make sure that as you're working through each of the multiple choice, if you're looking at this and you're saying, I don't get it, I don't know the answer, don't say, oh, I'll leave it for later. I'm sorry to say that you are going to have to make your best educated guess, choose something, and then click next. Please don't leave anything blank. They used to do this thing on AP exams where it was like right minus wrong. They don't do that anymore. Guess if you need to, okay? But get this done and then click next, go on to the next question with the knowledge that you cannot come back to it, unfortunately. This is all part of their whole system of exam security. So just so you're aware of that. This is one of those questions where they've got information for you here and then the question for you over here. So pretty standard for the way some of the multiple choice will look. And I'm not saying that every multiple choice will have the info box. That's not necessarily the case either. You might also find that as you're doing questions, maybe this information goes with like 3 different questions. So when you click next, you might go, hey, that diagram is still there. But it's because the question is new and it's saying, yeah, it's a continuation using that information. When you're done the multiple choice, you do get a break. And most of the AP exams are set up this way, that there's like the multiple choice part and then there's the free response part. So when you're done the multiple choice, even if you ran it out right to the end of that clock, it will start a 20-minute break for you. And remember, it said to you, oh, you're done the multiple choice. Whatever you answered up to that point is automatically saved, and then the 20-minute countdown starts. Get up, move around, stretch, whatever, go to the bathroom, get a drink, whatever you need to do. But understand that, again, that clock that's ticking on there, it's not going to let you pause or anything like that. When that countdown timer finishes your break, you need to be back in your seat ready to keep going because the next part of the exam just starts. Now, it is possible that maybe you finished the multiple choice a little bit early. That's a little bit rare on the AP exams because remember, there's a lot of questions in there. You have to fire through them pretty fast to get through everything. But if you were done like 8 minutes early, for example, and you'd already clicked, finish on that last question, it will add that time to your break time for you simply because everybody starts the second section at the same time. So it's saying, yep, you're just going to be starting at the same time as everybody else then. Also, please make sure that when that break timer starts, you do not try to exit the app. You're just supposed to leave it running. And if you're on a laptop, don't close the lid on your laptop. Don't close the screen. Because I know I do that a lot when I'm going to walk away from my laptop for 10-15 minutes. I close the screen. Depending on your laptop, the way that it might go into like a sleep state or something like that could severely screw up how this app is running. So you just leave it open, you leave it running, and you just walk away, okay? And just let it keep on going as it counts down your 20-minute break. When you get to the free response section, It's kind of like the multiple choice where you can't jump back and forth, but not exactly the same. And what I mean by that is, when you're doing a particular question on the free response, once you've hit submit for that part, that question is done. And again, you can't go back to it. But some of the free response questions might be made up of multiple parts. It's kind of like, you're doing question number 3, part A, part B, part C. I'm not saying it's going to be labeled exactly that way on your exam, but you get what I mean. Now, if it's one of those questions where it has multiple parts, you are allowed to jump back and forth between those parts, because it is part of altogether one question. But again, once you're done that question and you hit submit on that question, it is done. We were told that the testing app will actually pop up, sort of a little warning for you that says at the end of each question as you're getting ready to submit, hey, do you really want to do this? Like, have you finished everything that you want to do on this entire question? Because once you've committed to that, it's done. So you don't want to leave any parts of a question unfinished or blank or something like that at that point. Now, the short answer, depending on your exam, is going to look something like this. There might be various readings that they give you, with the possibility that there's actually multiple readings. That's why there's this bar down here with different numbers, because you can click on different source documents that they are making available to you. So you want to make sure you check those out. In the actual part where you're giving your answers, you're typing into this box. Everything that you do gets typed in. Now for this one, it's got this bar at the top for you to be able to do formatting, like bold, italics, underline, superscript, subscript, undo, redo, symbols. Now, apparently for like the calculus and chemistry exams, this is going to be a little bit more complete, you could say, for doing lots of different symbols and things. Basic cut and copy and paste sort of stuff. Depending on the exact exam that you do, though, this bar might look different. Even we were told that for the computer science exam, there won't be the bar because you're typing in like monospace or whatever, so that you're just typing basic text, and you can do things like, hit spaces to put legit spaces in. You can hit tab to indent as you're typing in your code and stuff. Remember though, as you're typing in the code, this won't like run your code for you to check it or anything like that. You're just typing code directly into the box. But it's going to look something like this, with slight different variations for your free response stuff. And apparently this is question number 1 right now. It's going to have things like that to kind of help you out as you're looking at these questions and working your way through. You hit next, you go on to the next free response question when you're done this one. And one of the things that I always say to students about any of the free response on the AP exams is never leave anything blank. Even if you really don't know a great answer, type in something, because basically once you've put something in on an AP exam, you're not getting a 0 anymore. You attempted something, they're going to give you something for a mark for trying something. Okay, so keep that in mind as you're typing those in. So you get to the end of the exam and everything's finished. You're going to see this. Now remember, again, it's doing the countdown timer and it's telling you that, hey, the exam is done. This pops up and it says, we're uploading your answers now. Be patient, because we were told also that the reason this is coming up first is to tell you, yeah, we're uploading, but wait. Because again, remember, there's potentially hundreds of thousands of people that are writing that exam at the exact same moment for you. And the whole idea of you downloading the exam onto your computer over a period of several days was to try to give their servers a chance. This is also the same idea. Basically, it puts you into sort of like a digital lineup where it's saying, you're waiting, and when it's our turn to upload your answers, that's what the computer's going to take care of. So you got to be patient. This might be up on the screen for several minutes Don't do anything, don't shut down the computer, you just wait. And what we're waiting for is potentially like 10, 12 minutes later, this pops up saying, congratulations, your answers have been uploaded, the exam is done, you can return to home, which is the main screen for the app. It unlocks your computer for you so that the app isn't running you in that lockdown mode anymore, and you can get ready for your next exam if you have another one coming up or whatever you're going to do. This is the message that we want to see, and you can even go to apstudents.org and it'll show on there, yep, the exam was submitted, and it'll even give you sort of a time frame of when you can expect to get your results back. And it's not going to be until like probably sometime in July, so don't be surprised by that. Okay, that's regular for college board exams. Now, what we don't want to see is this screen. This one basically means something didn't go right. Probably what happened was, as it was trying to upload that secured file back to the College Board, something happened with your internet connection. That is, in all of the testing that they've done to check this system out, they said that's the most common error, is somebody's internet kind of goes a little bit jinky for a moment and doesn't let them upload. So it's basically saying, hey, do you need to reconnect or check your connection, or hey, just wait a minute sort of thing. Then you can click try again, and it puts you back into that lineup. So don't expect it to like instantly say, oh, we uploaded it now. You're waiting your turn for it to upload your file. If it keeps on popping back to this, and this I know sounds kind of scary, but you're actually recommended to just close the app entirely, even potentially shut down your computer entirely, restart the app or restart your computer, and hit try again. Because remember, the way the College Board has set up this app is that it's actually saved a file with all of your exam answers sitting there. And if it needs to upload it an hour from now, it will. It's just got that file waiting to be uploaded by the app. So you could try shutting down the app, restarting it, and it'll say, hey, this exam still isn't submitted. Want to try again? Click, and you try again. Now let's say even that's not working. You keep on coming up against error messages. You can actually contact directly the College Board and say, what's going on? Now this is where there's something that I've added in here that the College Board has told us that to me sounds a little scary. I know that it would make you nervous probably, but what they're saying is, don't just try calling immediately, because imagine, they're going to be getting lots of phone calls from lots of students probably. They said, wait like hours. They were even talking about waiting like 24 hours. I'd say maybe wait more like 6 or 7 hours, because at that point, you might come back into this again, hit try again, and suddenly it uploads. Because 6 or 7 hours later, all of those people that are uploading their answers, they're done. That's all been finished. And now with the network maybe a bit cleared, that's when it's going to work for you. If it's still not working, call that number and say, I have an issue. I'd like to say contact me if you're having problems, but remember, I can't really help you with this. I'm not trying to dodge responsibility on it or anything like that, but I won't have access to anything that I can directly do to help you. So sure, contact me and let me know that you're having problems if you want, but you're really going to be calling the College Board anyways to say, what do I do next? Now there is also the possibility that maybe while you're doing an exam, something really bad happens, like the power gets knocked out at your house or something, and you really didn't have, in a sense of being fair to you, the opportunity to write the exam and do the best that you possibly could. They also recognize that stuff like that can happen. There is a little note down here at the bottom that talks about if you need to request a makeup exam. Now understand, they're not saying that, you finished this one and it's like, I think I could have done better. I want another shot. They don't mean it that way. They mean it in the sense of something prevented you from completing the exam, in a sense that your opportunity was fair to you, just like it should be fair to every student. So there are opportunities to request a makeup exam. If you're kind of going that direction, that's when I want you to contact me. Let's have a chance to talk about it and figure out if legitimately you do have a reason for a makeup exam. Because actually it pops up on my screen that you're requesting it, and I have to authorize it. I need to know what's going on for you. So for all of these situations, anytime that you do need to contact me in Teams. Do a search for Brian Klimberg and find me in Teams and send me a message, and we'll talk about it. We'll figure it out, okay? I hope this answers all of your questions about the exams. I know it's a lot of information I'm giving to you, but I want to make sure that you knew in advance what these exams are going to look like. So best of luck, and I will be trying to give some more updates, and contact me if you need to, and good luck on all of your exams.